When you're getting divorced, a lot of times, you're thinking about how to divide your debts and assets. And one of the assets that you will be dividing will be your personal property. Personal property in Pennsylvania is all the things in your home, meaning the furniture, things that are not titled. In addition to that, you would also have, say, a pet, and a pet would be considered personal property in Pennsylvania because they don't do custody in Pennsylvania at this point for pets. So when you're looking at personal property, certain things are excluded in a divorce. If you inherited something from someone else and it was exclusively given to you, that personal property belongs to you and should go with you in the event of a divorce. So if you had inherited your grandmother's, dining room table, that goes with you. Gifts between others, meaning you and your spouse, say your spouse gave you something during the marriage, that is still a marital asset, even though they gave you that gift during the marriage. So that falls in the realm of personal property. And most personal property is going to get divided in kind, meaning you pick something, your spouse picks something. And if you can't resolve it by agreement, you can go to arbitration. And more than likely, that's what they're going to do. You're going to make a list of the disputed items and go down and you pick one off the list, your spouse will pick the next one. But there are some things that might be worth getting appraised. So a lot of times people may have things of value that they collect, whether that is a gun collection or artwork or jewelry. And for those things, if you want to get the value of them, you would need to hire an appraiser. And if you can back up the value with an appraisal, you can then have that value used in the court when they're factoring out the value of your estate. So it's really the things that are not appraised that you're looking at, and you're going to end up dividing them in kind. And usually the person that's keeping the house is probably going to end up with a lot of the personal property because you're simply not going to go through everything. Although in some cases people do that and somebody ends up with nothing when the house is cleaned out. But in those cases, the personal property that does not have an appraised value is usually a very minimal value. It is garage sale value. And if you go on sites like Marketplace or eBay or other sites like that, you'll see that furniture, while it might cost a lot for you to replace it if you don't take the couch, is not going to be very much value if you try to sell it in the used market. So one thing that might be helpful if you want to get value is to try to use places like Marketplace or eBay or wherever to try to establish a value for your things. But more than likely, the best thing to do would be to try to amicably divide the things you've accumulated over time. And remember, it's probably not worth the lawyer's rate to dispute, a teacup or some other, even a television. You're going to pay more for your lawyer to go to court to get that television back than it would cost you to just replace it. So when you're leaving the home, you might want to just take the things that you feel you want to take with you, but try to be fair and try to take half of everything so that you don't end up in court fighting over personal property.